All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, August 12th. We have an 11-game MLB slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, we're going to go through each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my lean on the side. I'll give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about any other plays, like player props that we like in the game as well. But as always, all of my final plays, if you do want to fade me, all of my final plays, so what I'm rolling with myself, those plays will be listed in the pinned comment. Yesterday, we go 1 and 2. We had the Red Sox team total over. That did not come through. They scored 2 runs. And then we had Blake Perkins over 0.5 bases. The guy got pinch hit for. He was so damn bad. So Diamondbacks team total over at least makes us prevent a reverse sweep here. But a 1 and 2 night, not all the best. In fact, the last few nights have not been all the best. We had like 1 or 2 positive nights in the last week or so. But nonetheless, guys, we do move on. Windshields are bigger than rear view mirrors for a reason, right? And the ride of the day also does not come through, unfortunately. We got to drop the womp womp there. I don't want to drop the womp womp because Angry Tater hit a plus 500 parlay for us 2 nights ago. So we can't get too mad over him, missing another long shot type of a parlay. So shout out to Angry Tater for this attempt. It does not come through, but again, he had a plus 500 parlay for us just a couple nights ago. So can we really be mad at that one? We're just following the rules with the Womp Womp. Shout out to Angry Tater for that win, always throwing bangers down below. But guys, if you don't know what the ride of the day is, it's simple. All you got to do is use that hashtag ride of the day in the comments. I'm jumping on board with one of those plays, whichever comment gets the most likes. So yes, you can take a part in picking which one we roll with, right? All you have to use is that hashtag ride of the day, and I jump on board with someone's pick in the comments. Again, whichever one gets the most likes. So use those hashtag ride of the days or ROTD in the comments. We will be seeing which one gets the most likes today and jumping on board. But let's go ahead and jump into today's slate. Like I said, an 11-game slate. Let's get rocking and rolling. We're starting it off with Cleveland taking on Chicago here. Shota Imanaga on the mound going up against Ben Lively. Both of these offenses, in fact, if we want to jump into the dashboard, you can see it pretty clearly. Both of these offenses, I would say, mediocre in a sense. Now, Cleveland does hit lefties a little bit better than they do righties, but in the last 30 days, but their offense has fallen off a little bit, right? So to me, look at this and it's like, okay, well, better pitcher for Chicago. In terms of a bullpen, even their bullpen has kind of come around now. It's not Cleveland's bullpen. I would give them the bullpen edge, but nonetheless, like better starter. And the fact that, Shota Imanaga is going to throw a bunch of fastballs, a starter that should pitch pretty well because Cleveland ranked fastball, wise, runs above average, 28 in the league last 30 days. So all of a sudden they have that edge. And then, offense, again, they bat righties better than they do lefties. There's a lefty on the mound here against them. So to me, this is a lean towards Chicago. Now, in terms of a price, I think you're getting a pretty good price backing Shota Imanaga at minus 120, backing a team that's won 8 of the last 10 against a team that they've won 2 straight, but they've only won 3 of their last 10. So I do think there's a little bit of a spot here for Chicago. Now, them on the road, not exactly my favorite type of spot to bet them. Shota Imanaga day, yes, but they've only won 45% of the games on the road here, whereas Cleveland's sitting at home, they've won 64% of the games. So that's definitely worth considering if you do like the plus number for Cleveland. But to me, Shota Imanaga and that offense, and the fact that Shota Imanaga should have a pretty decent pitch mix against this offense, gives me Chicago lean. Now, when it comes to a total, right, I would almost think, both offenses, Ben Lively's not all that bad of a pitcher, right? We've talked about him. He's at his highs, his lows. I'm not exactly sure where to come out on him. He's not a stud. He's not a dud, but he's going to have some decent nights, and this is not a very good Chicago offense, so I think I'd lean under, but the way I'd rather play it is maybe Cleveland Guardians team total under, just so we can kind of back Imanaga even more. All right, next game up, we have Cincinnati taking on St. Louis here. Sonny Gray on the mound going up against, I believe it's Andrew Abbott. In this spot here, St. Louis coming off of a series against Kansas City. They split that one. Cincinnati coming off of a win yesterday, but losing the series against Milwaukee. Overall, this spot in what I think you would easily say that St. Louis has a little bit of a pitching advantage, but Sonny Gray on the road hasn't been all that tremendous. Now, 3.4 ERA over the last 5 isn't terrible, kind of matches his season long of 3.6 there, but on the road, he has a whip of 1.23 compared to on the season, 1.07, a FIP of 4.04, an expected FIP though on the road. This is very important and leads into our, what we like, right? An expected FIP of 2.75, so this guy's fielding independent pitching, expected, right, has been actually pretty damn good. His strikeout rate on the road is pretty high too, but he's 260 batting average against. Now, luckily, I guess for St. Louis, Cincinnati's pitcher isn't the best home pitcher, isn't the best pitcher overall. We have Andrew Abbott, like I mentioned, who has a 3.4 ERA over his last 5 and is coming off a start against Miami. Again, Miami, 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 base on balls, so 9 base runners there, 7 Ks, I'll give him credit there, but 6 earned runs through 5 innings pitched, average 21 pitches per inning. So it's not like they're coming in with a hot arm here. Now, St. Louis against lefties, decent, 10th in average, 12th in WRC plus, 13th in OPS, 14th in ISO, 13th in slugging. So maybe they do stand a pretty fair chance against Abbott here. So we're going to roll with that because he also has a pretty damn bad, I would say, record against the current guys on this team. So in his career against the Cardinals players, it's not against the Cardinals, it's against the guys that are on the roster, right? 58 plate appearances against a K rate, so K percentage of 10.3, expected batting average 309, and an expected WOBA of 459. So I like the spot for the Cardinals here. Very similar to Chicago. I can rationalize and understand the plus money for Cincinnati, right? But overall, I don't think that minus 130 is too much of an ask here. For two teams that both have been struggling to grab the wins, but you have Sony Granamount, I like their spot here a little bit more than I do Cincinnati's. In terms of a total, it's sitting at 9. I think if you like the over, you should, it's kind of aligned with the Reds. If you like the under, it's probably a Cardinals play. So I'm going to take the under here because it correlates to what we're talking about. And real quick, guys, before we do move on with the rest of the slate, I want to talk to you about Underdog. If you have not checked out Underdog yet, it's quickly becoming one of my favorite DFS player prop apps out there. Right now, if you sign up with the link in the pinned comment, it's right there in the pinned comment, you're going to get an up to $250 first-time deposit bonus, and you'll get a free square. And they've been dropping a bunch of discounts as well. So go ahead and check it out, guys. That link is in the pinned comment. If you don't know what Underdog is, and you live under a rock or under a dog, see what I did there? Go ahead and check it out, guys, because if you don't know what it is a player prop app in which you combine 2 or more player props into a slip. The more you get right, the more you get paid out. And I've been lucky enough in the last couple of weeks to bang a couple different 6-for-6 slips, so it's definitely possible as well. Those are 25 X's. So go ahead and check it out, guys. Link in the pinned comment. I've been using this app a lot as of late and been loving it as well. Their interface is super easy, and like I said, I've kind of made a lot of money on the app, so I can't talk negative about it. But go check it out. Maybe you could do that next. That link, again, is in the pinned comment. It's going to apply the code. You're going to get the deposit offer, and you'll get the free square / special discount square that you'll get as well when signing up. So go check out Underdog, guys. That link is in the pinned comment. Let's jump back into these games. We're taking a peek at Tampa Bay taking on Houston. Now, as a Red Sox fan, a little bit salty when I hear Houston because they stomped on the Red Sox yesterday. They won that game. It was a 10-2, but it was 10-0 at one point. Tampa Bay coming off of a series in which they kind of salvaged, I guess. They won yesterday against the Orioles, but they lost the first 2 games, 4-1 and then 7-5. On the mound today for Tampa Bay, looks like we're going to have Taj Bradley, who's fantastic at home, right? At home, going up against Framber Valdez, who I wouldn't say home away really impacts him all that much, but one thing I want to show, and we can dive into the dashboard here, that caught my eye is a bunch of sinkers, right? That's what we're going to get for Valdez. Now, look at that. 6th best for Tampa Bay in terms of hitting that. And what have I been telling you guys? Versus lefties, it's time that we can consider some Tampa Bay spots, right? Now, do the odds really scream like underdog, home dog and all that? Not necessarily. Plus 110 on most books, plus 112 on FanDuel is the best value as of right now. But I do think this could be a Taj Bradley at home. And honestly, I mean, you're looking at a Houston team that's won 5 straight games. Maybe they're due for a little bit of a letdown spot after winning 10-2 yesterday. So give me Tampa Bay here for plus money. Again, this is backing Bradley. This is backing the fact that we get a lefty against Tampa Bay and that there's plus money. If this is a minus 110 play, I don't think I'd be, even considering, but we are sitting here with a plus money play. So Taj Bradley in the Rays money line. In terms of a total, I don't think the Rays win this one by, outscoring the Astros 11-10. Astros scored 10 yesterday. So I'm going to lean towards the under, but that's a pretty damn low number overall. I would maybe consider the Nerfy, but I've been a good boy, and we're trying to stay off Nerfies a little bit, right? Because we've had an awful run of Nerfies in August, but I would consider Taj being able to go out and do his thing. It's like the Rays have seen righty. Yesterday they got, the Rays have seen righty. I was thinking Astros, actually. So Rays have seen righty. It's not like they're going to snap right back into form seeing lefty, right? Even though they do hit lefties better. I don't mind 3 outs from them against a lefty here. I would not like it full game because, again, that's the side of the arm that they tattoo. But overall, I do think that this could be a Nerfy. Just 3 outs from each pitcher, and then we kind of see what happens. But give me the Rays on the money line for plus money. Slight lean towards the under. It's a low number, and then definitely a Nerfy look. Keep an eye on the pin comment. All right, Red Sox taking on Texas. We just talked about Houston, right? Stomping down on the Red Sox. Right now, the Red Sox sit at minus 135 favorites. They're going up against Tyler Mahle here for Texas, or Mahle, however you say his name. Brian Bayo's on the bump for the Red Sox, who has definitely had his ups and downs. I guess we can say he's been consistent, like doing his job, but this is not the guy that we want him to be as Red Sox fans, right? But what I will say is it is a righty on the mound, and the Red Sox, against a righty yesterday, Hunter Brown, you kind of could make the argument that the last few righties they've seen, they did not get to, so it's almost a matter of time in a sense. Is minus 130 worth that price? Not necessarily, but I can't necessarily sit here and be like, oh, no way they score on this guy, because they've had two righties now kind of do their best, Hunter Brown and Spencer Arrieta, going up against them, in which they didn't really do much damage. So I think that the Red Sox are due to score a bunch of runs. The problem being here is that we saw a little bit of a slump yesterday, but obviously that could be guys that are sitting a little bit and hand up. I bet the Red Sox before they listed their confirmed lineup. Some guys sitting out, you know what I mean? So hopefully they have a full lineup today and can kind of get to Mahle here. I would bet Red Sox money line if I were to do this. I'd also consider the Red Sox team total over, but Brian Bayo has not been all that great. He's going to throw a lot of sinkers, which has been a terrible pitch for Texas. That is the good news. But to me, this is a Red Sox money line or Red Sox team total over, and that's kind of that. I wouldn't want to say Texas against a righty who's been pretty damn poor in the last 30 days. Would be the play. It's 9.5 right now. Yes, I think the Red Sox can get to a righty, but can the Rangers get to Bayo? Potentially. I wouldn't want to put weight on both of these teams to carry that into double digits. So I would go Red Sox money line or team total over for the Red Sox. Probably not both, and then I probably wouldn't touch that the game total. I'd rather a team total for the Red Sox because they're due against a righty. All right, next up, we're looking at Minnesota taking on Kansas City. Pablo Lopez on the mound for Minnesota, going up against Brady Singer here. Pablo Lopez at home here, 1.28 whip, a 3.4 FIP, 3.34 expected FIP. But the issue is at home, 283 batting average against. Not all that great, kind of coming into a spot in which he's going up against a Kansas City lineup that is definitely red hot, right? So I've been usually a Pablo Lopez backer and supporter here, but for plus 140, you're telling me we can't consider Kansas City in this spot? That's definitely the side that I'm going to lean towards. He has been pretty damn good against the Kansas City roster, so if you like Minnesota for minus 162, again, it's kind of a price play at this point. If you like Minnesota for this number, then fine, because I'm going to give you something that you might like here. 114 plate appearances against the current guys on the roster, a batting average against of 185, a WOBA of 241, a strikeout rate of nearly 31. So yes, you can definitely, back Pablo Lopez in this spot, but to me, you have a really good Kansas City offense against a guy that throws a lot of fastballs. They're fifth in the league right now in terms of runs above average in the last 30 days against the fastball, and he throws a ton of sliders too, right? It's a second or third pitch. They're the number one team in runs above average last 30 days against the slider. So to me, there's too many reasons to bet Kansas City, at least at that number, that would deter me from doing Minnesota and rolling with Minnesota. So give me Kansas City on the money line. In terms of a total, sitting at 8 right now, I'd lean towards the over because, again, if I think that Pablo Lopez, and usually I'm a big Pablo Lopez guy, if I think Pablo Lopez could struggle, or at least Kansas City can kind of give him, a run for his money, it's going to mean offense. They're not going to win this one like 3-1, right? So give me the over as well as Kansas City. And honestly, Kansas City money line, or at least first 5 money line, because their bullpen ain't all that great, definitely has a chance of being a final play. All right, White Sox taking on the Yanks here on the mound for the White Sox. It looks like it's going to be Busch. Don't know too much about him, and I also want to blow smoke up your ass and act like I know too much about him. Kai Busch going up against Luis Gil, who's definitely better at home than he is on the road, but these two offenses, even though Busch is a lefty, you still have the Yankees sitting here, who faced a lefty yesterday, right? The Yankees sitting here with just a way better offense. So this would probably be Yankees on the money line in some sort of a parlay. I don't love the odds. Even minus 1.5 is minus 180. So I'm doing my best to not touch this game. If you want to roll with it, maybe consider Yankees team total over instead of paying that number for the money line, or even paying that money for the run line, right? So give me the Yankees team total over. That'd be the only way that I probably end up touching this. They could probably score a decent amount of runs today. But again, it's against a lefty. They did face a lefty and fared pretty well yesterday, but at these numbers, it doesn't make all that much sense to really dive into this game, right? Total sitting at 9. I wouldn't touch that either, because then you're accounting for both teams to kind of step up and do their thing. I would much rather go Yankees team total over, and literally that's it. Milwaukee taking on the Dodgers. We have Clayton Kershaw going up against Freddie Peralta here. This has been a Milwaukee team that's been pretty damn, good offensively. They started to kind of turn back to what they were doing earlier in the year here. Now, Their last game, what was it? The last 2 games was 3 runs and 1 run. But before that, what I mean is 8, 16, 8, 10, and 8 even a couple games before that against Washington, right? So they were kind of flying, but Clayton Kershaw is a decent pitcher, as we know. He really hasn't hit his stride yet. He has some decent numbers, like a batting average against in 41 plate appearances against his Milwaukee team of 222. But Freddie Peralta is going to match those numbers, 88 plate appearances against, so even more of a sample size, 197 batting average. So I can't sit here and say that, Kershaw, because of the name, has a much of a pitching advantage here over Peralta. Now he's going to throw a bunch of fastballs. This is Peralta, right? If we dive into the dashboard, last 30 days here, Dodgers, really good offense, but against the fastball, really, really struggling. And here, Kershaw and slider and fastball is what we're going to get from Kershaw, right? Really good at hitting the fastball. They stink at the slider on the Milwaukee side, so there could be some pitching, I guess, equalization here in a sense. So if that's the case, I'm going to go with a team that I still kind of believe is a red-hot offense. Now, can you make the argument that LA is going to be a red-hot offense all the time? Sure. But for plus money, I think that's where I say, hey, if this is a 50-50 spot, I think it's going to be whoever's bats get hot first. I'll lean towards the plus money spot here. Now, the total's sitting at 8, right? And I think they're giving a big nod to the pitchers, right? What have I talked about? LA's bats are just going to be hot no matter what. And then the Brewers bats, I'm putting more weight into the 5 games before that 1-run game, the 3-run game, than I am those, just overall. So I do think that this could easily get to like a 5-4 spot or 6-3 or something like that. So I'm going to lean towards the over here. I might like that more than the Brewers on the plus money at, plus odds on the money line. All right, Angels taking on Toronto. Why do I keep trying to get to the Angels in these spots? Yesterday, Angels do end up getting the win, which again, shame on me for not playing it, but I'd lean their way each and every time this series. And yesterday were the better odds, and we missed the boat, right? But nonetheless, they lost the first 2 games, so who am I, right? But in this spot, you have Bowden Francis going up against Davis Daniel. Davis Daniel been okay at home this season. I don't really want to put too much weight into him, and I'd hate the idea of really backing him and betting him, but I don't have many angles to go to the Blue Jays, especially with Francis on the mound. And then even looking at what they did yesterday, it's like Oakland beat the Blue Jays in game number 1. They won in game number 1 in the Blue Jays, and then Oakland took them and won in 2 straight games. Now, different ways, 8-4, 1-0, but is this a Toronto team that we truly want to back? Like, JP Sears went for 7 innings against them, so Davis Daniel, right? Like, maybe he can go out there and pitch well. For the money, again, we've kind of been on this train of thinking, I guess, the Angels can win, and we're not betting it, but to me, like, I don't necessarily want to say that this is a decent spot at all for Toronto. They're on the road, coming off a series in which they're probably not too happy about. They're on that coast, so give them credit there, but I'm going to lean Angels. As much as I'm probably not going to bet it yet again, it's still going to be the lean. In terms of the total, I think this is like a 5-4 game. Not to say at minimum, but 5-4 game right in that realm. So I don't think I'm going to be betting the total because it's at 9. If you can get this at 8.5, I'd go over. If you can get it at 9.5, I'd probably go under, but I don't think that I get to the window myself here. But like I said, I also could have some little like crazy thing going in my brain where for whatever reason, we're trying to get to the Angels because we've been going about that angle for a few games now. All right, Padres taking on Pittsburgh, and we have Joe Musgrove on the mound here for the Padres, going up against Marco Gonzalez for Pittsburgh. Overall, I would still continue to trust San Diego's lineup. Now they're a lefty, and Marco Gonzalez is not exactly their strong suit, but they're still a little bit better than Pittsburgh is against righties, which is the hand that Musgrove's throwing with. So I would still give a little bit of credence here to San Diego. Minus 162 is too much for me, so I'd probably lean towards their run line. Now, they caught the L yesterday, the first 5 run line, They caught the L yesterday, and I understand that, but I would also say that, this lineup is just so much more capable than Pittsburgh's is, and even look at what Pittsburgh did in yesterday's game, right? 6-5. So the fact that San Diego's coming off of a loss in which they had won 7 games prior to, I like them to kind of get right back to what they're doing. San Diego, that is. So give me San Diego. It'd be first 5 run line. Pittsburgh coming off of a tough series against LA. Obviously, even they had Skeens in that series and didn't get to win. So one team has momentum, one doesn't. I'm not putting too much weight into a high scoring loss for San Diego yesterday. In terms of the total, I like San Diego's team total over more than anything. Not saying I think Joe Musgrove's going to come out of nowhere and pitch really well to these guys type of thing, but to me, I also don't want to count that out. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather just San Diego Control your variables, San Diego team total over, instead of saying, hey, look at Pittsburgh's bad against righties. They're bad, just their lineup isn't all that trustworthy overall. They're going to go out there and all of a sudden have like 3-run game. And it's like, yeah, they hurt your total, because what if this is a 4-3 win for San Diego, 5-3 win for San Diego? You don't even hit the over. But if they scored 5 runs on the San Diego side, you probably would have hit the team total. You know what I mean? So control your variables. I'm leaning San Diego team total over, as well as their first 5-run line. Minus 162 is just too much for the money line. We are flying through this video. If you guys have made it this far into the video, make sure to go ahead and comment 20 down in the comments. So hit that subscribe button if you're new. Hit that like button as well. But let's jump into this game here. We got Arizona taking on Colorado here. On the mound for Arizona, it's going to be Brendan Fat on the mound here, going up against Cal Quantrill, who has definitely had his up moments, right? But now we have an Arizona team that we bet yesterday was our sole win of the day, taking their team total over. How can we not kind of run that right back, right? So we got 3.5 yesterday. We'll probably have to look at 4.5 today, but at minus 230, minus 240, I don't really think that there's a angle about going, an angle to go about betting Arizona on the money line or first 5, or even the run line odds are kind of crazy juice. So I'm going to go team total over, and then that would be my total lean as well. Arizona team total over, instead of getting into the weeds and hoping that, the Colorado Rockies can put up a couple runs here and there. It's like, it's not exactly a spot in which I want to tamper with, right? But I can trust a decent Arizona offense to go out there and do their job. So team total over Arizona is kind of my hybrid of both the total as well as the money line here in this spot. All right, we got the last game of the slate here. We got San Francisco taking on Atlanta, and it is Chris Sale day. But Blake Snell is on the bump here for San Francisco, so don't get too crazy saying there's a pitching advantage, right, for Atlanta. Now, I still do believe there is, but Blake Snell's been pretty damn good. I mean, he had his worst start in a while against Washington. 6 innings, 3 earned runs. It was a home run. Only 4 hits allowed, you know what I mean? So, yes, the earned run looks bad, but he still pitches pretty damn well. Don't forget, this guy's coming off of a no-hitter as well, so to me, there's a closer pitching margin than looking at these two guys side by side on the season, right? But still, if you're going to sit there and say, hey, you're getting Chris Sale for the odds of even plus 100 on FanDuel right now, I don't think I could pass that up now. I would say San Francisco has the better offense, last 30 days definitely, but Atlanta has what I would say the better pitcher. They also have the better bullpen, and, their bats at any moment can kind of step up. Yes, they're dealing with injuries and all that, but again, my play comes down to getting Chris Sale at a plus number. So I'm going to lean towards the Braves in this spot. If you like the Giants here and you're backing Blake Snell, I really don't have much to say against you, but again, my biggest thing is Chris Sale at a plus number. So that's the way that I'm leaning. Now, the total sitting at 7, I would lean Nerfy. No kidding, 2 amazing pitchers on the mound, right? But that total seems kind of flow. But even what I said yesterday about trusting where the books come out and all that, that's a pretty statement type of a number, right? So I'm going to trust that these pitchers do their job, but I would go first 5 under more than anything, because that San Francisco bullpen is not the best bullpen. Now, Atlanta's is, so say those cancels out if you want. Yeah, go ahead, fine. But I do think that, if you can control these, again, control the variables, I might start saying that more. Chris Sale versus Blake Snell, give me the first 5 under in this spot. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. And appreciate all of the love and support. Again, we're still in the middle of just people yapping, and it's like, what are you going to do, right? I'm going to come on here and have a good time, have some fun, and make some picks that'll probably lose at some point, and just keep doing my thing. So I don't think that there's any need for this stuff. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. If you don't, you're better off. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.